Hi there, I am the Reverend Danny Crosby, a Unitarian minister serving congregations in Altrincham and in Urmston in the northwest of England. And I offer this devotion as a balm for the heart, for the mind, for the spirit, and for the soul. And it's titled, Be Right Enough to Be Wrong, for that is the essence of the truth. I was talking with a friend recently about memory and how memory changes over time. He told me how strange he found it that when you speak with people who were present at the very same event that he was at, how they remember it all so differently. He talked about how memory is rarely pure. Often it is not actually the memory itself or that we remember. It's more the story of the memory, how that's told, that kind of is the memory that many of us experience. Do we actually remember events exactly as they were? I doubt it. And this is particularly true of cultural memories that are simply retelling of communal stories of which no one telling the story was even present at. It's only what they remember being told by someone else. We tell them, but we don't know if they're actually true because we weren't there. And if you weren't there, how can you speak of it? As if it was a historical, well, it's a historical event, but as if it's your story. How can it be your story if it isn't your story if you weren't there? You had to be there for it to be your story. And even then, it may not be how it really happened, just how you remember. I told my friend how what fascinates me actually is how memories can often be varied due to those experiencing the same event, but how they experience life can be so different. So they experience the event differently. And it's not just that people remember differently, they're just different in how they are as human beings. How people experience reality can be so fascinatingly different. Something I'm becoming increasingly aware of as time goes by. And I was reminded actually really powerfully of this as I've just been away at summer school at Great Hucklow in Derbyshire. It's just so very important to understand that in order to how differently we experience life, to understand, to truly empathize with other people, to walk in their shoes is to see that their experience of life is different to your own. Humanity is so truly richly diverse. We weave a fascinating tapestry. And this is not something we just have to accept. I don't think acceptance is ever enough. And we might not even be able to understand it, but we should celebrate this beautiful diversity found in reality, in humanity. And if we all come together and work together, we can create something so beautiful. That said, if we do not celebrate diversity or attempt to make others conform to one or another truth, we create nothing but destruction. I see this ever more clearly that people experience reality in such diverse, rich ways, and I want to celebrate this. And yes, some of this is neurodiversity, which we're learning more and more about. But I think it might be even more than that. I think it might be something even deeper than neurological diversity, something perhaps diverse in our souls and spirits, the way that we just experience reality differently because our souls experience it in diverse ways too. Maybe there isn't just one way. I don't know. It's just where my mind and my body and my soul operate. But however we experience, we need to share them with one another in order to understand reality and even human experience in all its rich diversity. But even if we do, what we must really accept is that none of us really even get more than a glimpse of the whole of the moon. Many of us were staring at it the other night up in Great Hucklow without all that light pollution you get living in towns and cities. That was beautiful, but we only got a glimpse. I saw the crescent, you saw the whole of the moon, as the song goes. I don't think anybody gets to see it all, actually. When a person shares something that is way beyond the bounds of our own experience, to look at them with utter incredulity is dismissal of our humanity. We must never do that, even if it seems so beyond our own experience. As I have listened intently with people this week, I have witnessed a rich diversity in the way that we all experience reality. I found this both beautiful and incredibly moving, and sometimes baffling, but I'm sure people feel the same way about me too. In fact, I know they do because I've seen the way they look at me. Now, all this got me thinking about truth claims that we make about anything. It got me thinking about the nature of truth. It got me thinking about the truths we believe about ourselves, one another, and life in general. There are many things that we hold true without really questioning them. Why do we? It also got me thinking about who we trust for our truth. What are our sources of truth? According to John's Gospel, Jesus said, "Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." How do we know what is true, though? This is especially true when thinking about our memories and how we and other people remember events that we were present at, and yet it seems like a different event if you listen to some others. Incredible, isn't it? Now, truth itself is an interesting word. It comes from a Germanic root, which also gives rise to another word, troth, as the vow of old, I pledge thee my troth. Words used as people enter a covenant with one another, they troth one another. As Parker J. Parner put it, a pledge to engage in mutually accountable and transforming relationships. To know in truth is to become betrothed, to engage the known with one's whole self. To know the truth is to be known as well, as Parker said. And I think I've been engaged in that a bit this week. Truth is a pledge made between people. It's relational in nature, a covenant of trust. So who do we trust? Who do we covenant with? What is the truth? Truth is not something we claim, actually, although we all claim it. It's more about how we live with what we claim. It's shown in our lives. You can't really hold the truth. You have to live by your truth. Not easily done. And I've been thinking about that in recent times, and a word came into public consciousness towards the end of 2016, that tumultuous year for many people. The Oxford Dictionary announced that they had chosen post-truth as the word of 2016, offering as a definition circumstances in which objective facts are less influential in shaping public opinion than appeals to emotion and personal belief. The Oxford Dictionary's Caspar Grandwall said, post-truth could become one of the defining words of our time. And this was really in response to particular tumultuous times politically, both in the United Kingdom and the USA. And I think these things have become more tumultuous ever since. Partisanship around political beliefs, I guess, on all sides of, or any aspect of the spectrum, really. When others accuse those that see things differently in Orwellian doublethink and as the organism of the state, I guess. As if everything's working against them and their claims of truth, as if they're being denied their ability to speak their truth. Usually the ones that shout the loudest about that, ones with the biggest voice boxes, are the ones that often deny the truth of others. Interesting, isn't it? Well, you're not letting me speak my truth. Really, we're hearing you a lot, so I'm not sure that's true. But on reflection, when I think about this, I'm not entirely convinced this is actually a modern phenomenon. There's nothing new under the sun. There have always been opposing truth claims. When I think back to philosophy at university and claims about human nature, there's never been agreement about it. Are you with Hobbes in thinking that humanity is basically corrupt and needs authority to curb our destructive natures, or are you with the Rousseau school and his belief that humanity is basically decent but corrupted by society. Or are you somewhere in between? Who knows? The arguments about authoritarianism and democracy are not new, they're just loud. The difference today is the volume of these truth claims has been amplified. We seem bombarded by them. Society on the whole seems to shout louder, and yet we are able to hear less well. Everyone's talking, yeah, but few seem able to listen to those who see things, who experience life differently. Truth has always been subjective. We claim pure rational, but I suspect that this in some ways is a dishonest response. Emotional and personal beliefs have always played a part in anybody's truth claims. They may be better hidden in some, but they're a part of it. I suspect that people have always experienced reality in different ways. I don't think there's anything new under the sun. Truth is subjective. Mahatma Gandhi, the great Gandhi, said that what may appear as truth to one person will often appear as untruth to another person, but that need not worry the seeker. Where there is honest effort, it will be realized that what appear to be different truths are like the countless and apparently different leaves on the same tree, different parts of the same elephant, different leaves on the same tree, different paths up the same mountain, different windows open to the same light, one truth, many manifestations of that truth. We only get to glimpse the truth through a glass dimly, but only from our perspective. And even then, the eyes that see that truth may see things so differently or take in what they see differently because of diversity and humanity. So we may see the same thing and yet still come to a completely different conclusion about what we see. This may be because we are approaching the truth differently. We bring our own needs and our own biases. It's vital to recognize these needs and these biases. But that does not mean that the one drawing the different conclusion has bad intent in doing so. I think it's often opposite. They have good intent, most people. It's true of people, and I think that's true of life for that matter. It's also important to recognize diversity in those experiences, how people process reality in diverse ways. Such a beautiful thing when we fully understand this, accept this, and more than that, when we celebrate this. And it's more than just neurological, and more I feel this actually. Although you may think I'm a fool, but there's something diverse, perhaps in our soulful natures. There's a spiritual diversity too. And I think I see that more actually. It's why people can be so incredulous when looking at spiritual truth claims of others that are genuine experiences that they just cannot relate to. We've seen it this week. But there's not a bad intent in this on any side. The philosopher of science Karl Popper had something rather interesting to say on this. He said, all things living are in search of a better world. Men, animals, plants, even unicellular organisms are constantly active. They are trying to improve their situation or at least to avoid its deterioration. Popper argued that because the identification of error is so central to the problem solving process, therefore its corrective, the truth is a core component of our quest for betterment. Mistakes are constantly made. All life makes mistakes. It's not perfect. No one has absolute foresight, can see what is coming. That said, to maintain trust, it is vital to admit when one is wrong and to rectify the error of where one is wrong. The problem I suspect in modern times is that admitting you are wrong is increasingly considered a weakness and not a strength, that you must fight your side even when you know you're wrong, that somehow that makes you wrong. This has caused a truth vacuum in the field of expertise in life. People do not trust experts as they once did, people who know more, obviously more than they do. I suspect one of the greatest troubles of recent times is that people just don't trust anybody or anything. We're told not to trust. And trust, it seems to me, comes from having the humility to admit when we make mistakes, because we all do. We need to be right enough in ourselves to admit when we get something wrong, because everything life does is corrective in nature. So often we see our piece of truth as a rock that we must cling to, that is absolute and must never be questioned. This leads to disputes as people find that in order to hold on to their truth, they must prove the truth claims of others as just being wrong, or even the people making the claims as just wrong in their humanity. Such reasoning lacks humility, because the truth is that whatever we believe or disbelieve about truth, we never see the whole truth completely perfectly. There is no such thing as perfect truth, because we don't see anything, experience anything perfectly completely. We glimpse at things, or we glimpse even a piece of things, of truth at least. Who can honestly say that they know the whole truth and nothing but the truth? I suppose some do. They claim to know the whole truth about everything and an expert at everything. I would be very wary of trusting those kind of people. Just because someone says it's true, it doesn't make it true. Now, this brings to mind that one of my favourite bits of wisdom from Anthony de Mello from 1 Minute Wisdom. To a visitor who described himself as a seeker after truth, the teacher said, "If what you seek is truth, there is one thing you must have above all else." "I know," answered the student, "an overwhelming passion for it." "No," said the teacher, "an unremitting readiness to admit you might be wrong." To seek the truth, one needs humility and openness and enough self esteem to see that we are wrong sometimes. And of course, the capacity to admit this and correct what is wrong. If we cannot, we will not be able to see the truth even when it's right in front of our eyes. It is so easy to become blinded by what we think we know. We need the openness that comes with true humility, for that's a truth that will set us free. It's also vital to remember that people experience the same situation so differently. It's not just the angle, it's just the person experiencing what two people can see can be experienced so vastly differently. There's a diversity in everybody's experience of life. Brings to mind some wisdom from a fellow from Oldham. To be right, you don't have to make another wrong. No, you just need to seek the truth as your experience teaches you in relationship with the experience of the diversity of so many, as many as is possible. To be with people who don't think alike, because people don't think alike. I can't think of anything worse than spending my life with and my time with people who think just like me. What would be the point of that? That would be a living hell to me. But we can love alike. We can be open to the newness of life and diversity and celebrate it in the same ways. But we don't have to think the same way. Who does? I don't think anybody thinks like me anyway. It is our responsibility to seek our truth, though, to bring to life our experiences. People need to experience our experiences, the richness of diversity. And we need to do so without apology. We need to do so for our own sanity and for the good of other people. They need to receive what's within each of us. In the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you." The world needs to know the truth, our truth, each other's truth, the diversity of truth. Lao Tzu wrote in the Tao Te Ching, "Knowing others is intelligence, knowing yourself is true wisdom, mastering others is strength, mastering yourself is true wisdom. Bring forth what is within you. If you are afraid to do so, then you may destroy yourself." There have been times when I have been afraid to bring forth what was in me, And I've witnessed the same fear in others too, and it's so destructive. But we have to seek our own truth. Just to take it, the truth of another, what's the point of that? It might be easier, but it's not what we're here for, is it? It may seem safer to accept the truth claims of others, but it's not what life's about. Life is a diversity and a rich one. We need to be open to the truth of all, to all that is life, to its rich diversity. The key to truth seeking is actually openness, born from uncertainty and humility. Openness is a way that enables us to experience new, previously unseen truth, a truth that will set us free. It will allow us to bring forth what is within us, and by doing so, we might just uncover what will save us from the delusion of what we think about ourselves, one another, and life itself. The world needs to at least have a chance of experiencing the whole of the elephant, the whole of the moon. We can't see it all on alone by ourselves. We're just like those blind men in that ancient Hindu tale. Do we trust ourselves enough to seek out the truth and therefore to bring forth what is within us? Or will we just rather stick with the safety of what we think we already know or what someone else tells us about the truth? We can trust, you see, we have to trust what we can unearth. If we learn how to truly live in the questions of ours and others' truth claims. Trust is so vital in life. We have to learn to trust what we discover, what we unearth, while not putting a fence around what we see as the truth today. The key is an open attitude, whether that's in finding your own truth or offering truth to another, just to be open, to have a little faith in one another and a little faith in life. But can we live in the ambiguity of truth without becoming overwhelmed or paralyzed by the uncertainty? The challenge comes in maintaining this faith, this trust, this deep commitment to the openness that truth seeking requires, and not allowing ourselves to keep shutting down to our own and the truth of others. It's not for the faint hearted. It takes courage. It's not the easiest path, but it's definitely the one worth taking. For it's the one that will set us up to live in and through truth. It's the truth that will set us free. You know, it's okay to get it wrong, to make mistakes. It's okay to feel lost, to feel confused about life at times. That's just humanity. There's something beautiful and glorious in that. So if you want to be the seeker of truth, then above everything else, what you need is an unremitting readiness to admit you might be wrong. Wrong about how we view ourselves, wrong about how we view life, wrong about how we view other people, but not wrong in the heart of our being. Just someone who gets things mistakes and correct those mistakes. They are correctable. That's what the nature of life is, to do so. And the truth is, of course, that once we see we are wrong about something, admit we are wrong about something, do whatever we can to put right what was once wrong, then we are no longer wrong, we are right. The key is to feel right enough about our humanity to be able to admit we can only ever vision the partial truth, and to be open to the truth yet to be revealed in others and in life and in ourselves. The key is in being right enough in our own humanity to be wrong about some things. For this is the essence of truth. I'm going to end with some final words of blessing. You know, we need to bless more. We can all bless. And we bless when we give ourselves wholeheartedly to life. May the God of your heart bless you as you return to your life. May you do so in the spirit of love, with an open heart, open mind, and open soul. May you live in the truth that will set you free, but never become a slave to that truth. May you learn to seek the truth and become right enough to admit when you are wrong. May you recognize the sacredness of yourself, of others, and of life. May you dwell in the love of God. And may that love go with us all, in all that we feel, in all that we think, in all that we say, in all that we do. Let's return to life in love and peace, and bless one another with our loving presence. Amen.